What hobby does not get more expensive the more you dive into it? Collecting rocks that you find. Magnet fishing. All you need is a strong magnet and some rope really, and maybe a few other things like gloves. Might even find something valuable one day, if you're exceedingly lucky. Smithing. It's always just as expensive. Extreme couponing. Writing. All you need is a Word document and your brain. Unless you're like me, who prefers oral writing, and now has a dragon's hoard of journals to write in. Geocaching. Lockpicking. Oddly enough, lasso making. Depending on the style of lace you're doing, the initial cost of tools can be fairly steep, or super cheap. Some styles require a needle. Just a needle. But once you've got the equipment, you're only ever required to buy thread and maybe pins or paper. Okay. Pattern books. But if you're even a little bit creative, you've got that covered. Source. Used to make lace. Over the course of 15 years, I spent maybe $200. Not $200 a year. $200 spread over 15 years. And most of that was because I wanted specialty threads. Like handspun linen. etc. Woodcrafting. That's pretty much the entire point. Note, woodcrafting should be practiced mindfully, with sustainability in mind. Take only what you need. Leave enough for the plants and animals to live well and reproduce. Abundance is there, but only if we don't harm it. Cross-stitch / embroidery. It's fairly cheap in general, but once you have a few sets in, you have a wide variety of colors to do your own. Eater. Whoa. Thanks for the silver. My first. Playing cards. I started a podcast as a hobby with two friends that moved to different countries in 2018, and we are still going strong. We talk about different topics every couple of weeks and it's very fun. The only expense we have is the host website, but we only pay because we have uploaded many episodes and needed more cloud space, but it's still very cheap in comparison to other hobbies. Writing. It may even happen that by diving into it, you could earn something. Reading. Stick collecting. No joke. It sounds dumb at first, but once you get a few solid sticks, you'll start to love it. You should see my arsenal. Game development. Unity is free. Visual Studio is free. Blender is free. Assaprite is $20, but also not necessary, but highly recommended. It's a really fun hobby that doesn't have to cost anything, if you don't want it to. Regardless of your hobby, the cost is inversely proportional to your self-control. The more self-control you have, the cheaper the hobby is. Meditation. Hiking. I love getting lost in outdoor spaces. It inspires my creative work, and is generally free. Searches through comments to find a new hobby. Edit. Thanks for the Do Nothing award. I'll continue doing nothing. Edit. 2. Platinum. You are way too kind, stranger. Thank you. Learning languages. Gardening. If anything, it becomes virtually free after a few harvests, because you can take the seeds out of the vegetables you just picked and replant them. Plus you already have free compost from the remaining plant matter / peels. etc. You picked. If you play your cards right while there is an initial investment, it'll pay for itself in the end. Disc golf. It's really fun, and you can buy discs for like $10 and that's pretty much all you need. Origami. Bird watching. Dumpster diving. Weightlifting. Average person would even save a ton of money by fixing their diet as a side effect. Collecting buckets. I have 7 buckets. The 4th one is also dark blue. Exercising / running. You only need to buy a good pair of shoes and some workout clothes and you'll be set for a while. Edit. Okay. My bad. Exercising is expensive. Sorry. Computer programming. Python is free. The modules are free. New modules keep coming out and getting better. For free. Plenty of resources out there. YouTube. Automata Stuff. Com. Are free. A hobby that changes the way you see the world, and adds another method of problem solving. It gets you exposed to all kinds of other fields. Also, it could land you a work from home job making great money, or save you time on completing repetitive boring tasks. Learning Python gets you a huge head start on learning other languages as well, but Python can be used for a whole project. It's fast. Swimming. Stay away from Warhammer 40k. You'll start with O. Once I have my area set up, and my paints, it's not so bad. Then one day you'll look at your army, and realize that, while Raven Guard is great, you really want to try an Elder army. Eventually you'll feel like you went through the warp without a Jello field. Cycling in theory. Buy a bike and only have to pay for minor maintenance, while increasing fitness levels and happiness. However, one will quickly realize that the proper number of bikes to own is n. One where n is the current number of bikes owned. Drawing. I use a pencil, a pen, and a sketchbook. It's possible to make drawing more expensive. Better pens cost money. Colored pencils cost money. Digital art supplies cost money. But it's not necessary to buy those things in order to enjoy drawing. D&D. Depending on how invested you get into it at the start. If you get all of the books, you could easily spend over $100. But you can also find PDFs for a lot cheaper. After that, though, you just have to find people to play with, and you don't have to spend any more money. Optimizing your personal finances. Cliff diving. Drug dealing. Knitting. You could probably buy all the needles and other various gadgets you will ever need for $200. Then you only need to pay for the yarn for the project you are working on. There are loads of free tutorials online. A summary of the comments. Redditor 1. Names a cheap hobby. Redditors 2213. You fool. This hobby is only cheap until you buy a bunch of things related to this hobby that the average person doesn't need to enjoy the hobby in the first place.